Okay, guys, these always make me a little bit nervous when I am going to talk about a friend's knife, like that they made, they designed. So this is the Scaphoid folder production model from Jim Skelton. It's made by Tuya Knives and belongs to Alex, my co-host on EDC Hour. You get a hard plastic Pelican style case. Here's a little bit of information about it. And then it's just got some padding and stuff inside. So nothing too fancy, but totally functional, totally great. The knife, well, it's actually pretty cool too. Now I've done a video on one of his other production knives, the Caladan, and truth be told, it was a version 1, which had a few issues. And I talked about those issues, and Jim agreed with everything I said. So the way the Caladan came out, Jim didn't get a chance to really, there was no prototype. It was a design. They shipped him 50 and he sold them. So there were a couple of issues that needed to get tweaked in the version 2. Now, this is the Scaphoid. This is based on a custom fixed blade that Jim did. And actually, the swedge up here, he only did on a few of the customs. And he incorporated that into the production version. I really like this one. I don't have a lot to complain about on this particular knife. The flipper tab is a little pointy and uncomfortable, but it's not the first knife that I have had with a flipper tab shaped like that kind of just scoops up a little bit. And it's got jimping on here, but it's just the way my finger hits it is I'm kind of just hitting it right here on that point. And if you're fidgeting with this, it's going to get a little uncomfortable for me. Now, your mileage may vary, as they say. So that's a subjective observation. Okay. So yeah, I always get a little nervous talking about my friends' knives that they designed and or built. So, but I'm just going to tell it like it is. And there you have it. So it's hand rubbed satin on the flats, belt satin on the hollow grind and the flat ground tip. So you have a really good cutting edge here with some strength to back it up here with this flat grind. And then the swedge gives you even that much more piercing ability. Titanium frame lock, 3 inlays of carbon fiber on the lock side, on the show side, and 1 big inlay on the lock bar side. S9DV, as you can see there. This is the same pocket clip that is on the Caladan. Works great, no hot spots. You can see this one is scratched up a little bit because Alex carries and uses his stuff, as we all should. Hardened steel lock bar insert, ceramic bearings, and ceramic detents. This is the Tuya Knives logo and the Skelton Bladeworks logo in the lock bar cutout. Cool way to do it. There is a hidden lanyard loop, lanyard hole, lanyard access, if you will. Titanium backspacer. Now, getting a lanyard in there, well, yeah. Easier said than done, probably. 550 paracord is not going to fit in there very well, I don't think. So, I'm not a lanyard guy, so it doesn't matter to me. But I like the fact that there is some versatility here where if you're a lanyard guy, you can run it. Whereas here on this North Arm Skaha, it's just a big gaping hole through the scales. And because I don't use a lanyard, that's kind of just ugly to me. And wasn't ugly enough for me not to buy the knife, but having that hidden ability to do a lanyard, I think is the way to go if possible. Because then us guys that don't care about lanyards, it doesn't bother us. And you guys that do use lanyards, you can squeeze it through that kind of hidden area. The action on this thing is really good. They really did nail this. This one is, in my opinion, a way better knife than the Caladan that I reviewed previously. Not really a finger choil here, but you can loop your finger around the flipper tab. The way the flipper tab is shaped, the way this finger choil is here in the scale, your finger is really locked in there. It's almost like on a fixed blade where it would have a guard there so that if you were piercing into something, you're not going to slide up the blade. Okay? Most of the time it's fine. It does feel a little bit cramped on my index finger. Slightly. But that, again, is not a negative. It's just the way it feels to me. I like this in the pocket. I like the look of it with the carbon fiber. I really like the blade shape. Now, here is a mini Hellraiser that Jim built for me. Well, he built it for somebody else. I bought it. Long story. Not really a long story. That's the story. Somebody else backed out of it. Jim sent me a video of it glowing in the dark because this handle glows and said, Dirk, like literally he sent me a video. Dirk, it's calling you. So I had to buy it. Now, this is not the same blade, the same knife, but you can see there's some DNA between the two. So I like that. This one does have the nice big finger choil. Not as much of a hook. Like, I'm not afraid that I'm going to slide up if I'm piercing something with this. But the way it's shaped, it doesn't hook my finger in and lock it in like the Scaphoid does. Now, I've not handled a Scaphoid fixed blade custom from him before, so I can't really compare the two. But yeah, these are nice. All right, so some specs on this thing. 4 5/8 closed. Solid 8 inches overall. With a 3.4 inch cutting edge, but a 3.4 inch blade with a 3.5 inch cutting edge. Because again, the way I measure it, I measure from the tip of the scale to the tip and from the actual cutting edge to the tip. So because of the way the scale is shaped, you get a little more cutting edge than this blade length. The way I do it, you can do it however you want. 0.019 blade behind the edge and 0.022 up here at the Tonto. Flat grind, hollow grind. S90V weighs in at right at 4 ounces. Overall thickness is 0.478. Like I said, ceramic detent, ceramic bearings, hardened lock bar insert. Also has a captive pivot, which is super nice. T8 over here. T6 is over here. I would have probably wanted them to do T8s for the body screws also, just to keep it consistent. One tool for the whole knife. Plus, T6s tend to strip easier. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't taken it apart. I can't say if they're super tight and you're going to strip or break screws, but I like T8s. And if we can do all T8, then that's just better for me and my preference. But again, I didn't design the knife. The jimping on the top is comfortable yet aggressive. So it's going to hold your thumb there if you are doing work. I don't know. What else can I say? I think it's a cool knife. This one I think they nailed. The Caladan wasn't my favorite. That's okay. I got one more under the table, one of the Hellfires. And maybe that'll be perfect. I don't know. I haven't really played with it much yet. I did the unboxing and I handled it a little bit when I was doing the kind of the research, if you will, for this one. And I kind of like the Hellfire too. Kind of spoiler alert when that video comes out at some point that I need to film. Here's a couple of size comparisons. The Sharpie, the D size and AA batteries. Bet you all thought I was going to pull out the Spyderco Delica, didn't you? Yeah, I want to be different a little bit sometimes. Because it's Jim, I also want to show it next to the custom Hellraiser that Jim used to own. The first custom in the Black Death series that Ed Kim from Red Horse Knife Works ever made. Jim was the first one to review it. I got hooked, and I have a bit of a Hellraiser problem nowadays in my life. But I was super honored, super stoked to be able to get this one that Jim owned, the first one that Ed made. So yeah, this one's a super special one to me, and for a lot of reasons. One of which being it was owned by Jim. So I did not buy it directly from Jim. He sold it to another friend of mine, and then I got it from him. But it still came from Jim. So there you go. And since I mentioned the Delica, why not grab that one too, just because. All right, there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. I will put a link to something up in the corner. I don't know if I did a Jim Skelton playlist, but I will put one together because I've got the Caladan, I've got this one, I've got one more under the table that I still need to film, and I'll put this one over here, the fixed blade that he made for me too. So yeah, there'll be a playlist up in the corner. Go check it out and let me know. Do you guys ever click on anything in the corners? Should I take the 30 seconds and put it there? Yeah, let me know.